Hey everybody. I saw a Reddit post the other day. A user had left his a Raspberry Pi with default password. He didn't change the default password on it, and somebody hacked into it. And what I want to do is make a video to show you how to secure a Raspberry Pi with SSH keys. And that'll make it very, very difficult to get into. And it'll also automate the process of logging into it. And I will show you how to do all that just at the end of the video. Anyway, so let's get started. What we have here is a brand new installation of Raspbian. It's on a Pi 2, and I just plugged in the network, and it's got a DHCP address, and we got to find that. So there's a couple different ways to find your IP address. You can, if you have a monitor attached, you can look at the monitor and do an ifconfig and see your IP. You can look in your router. You can run a tool on your network to find all devices, or you can try to ping it. So I'm going to try to ping it. That's the easiest way, I think. So ping Raspberry Pi. All right, there it is. 192.168.1.12. My DHCP scope goes from, I believe, 3 until 20. So if I give an IP address of 30, it'll be outside my scope and it won't conflict with anything. And that's what I'm going to do. So I'll show you how to do that right now. First off, we need to grab PuTTY. And if you Google PuTTY, the first thing that comes across should look just like that. And you click on it. And this is the download page. And I would just grab the zip file. That's got everything in it that we're going to need. So I've already done that and downloaded it, and here it is, putty.zip. And once you unzip it, that's what it looks like with all the files in there. And here is the executable. So we know that the IP address is 192.168.1.12, and I'm going to create a new session. That's it, 12. I'm going to create a new session, and we're going to call that Pi. And I'm going to make a couple changes to that. So the auto user login field off of data, we know the username is Pi, so I'm going to put that in. And I'm going to change the appearance of the window. I'm going to bump the font size. So we're going to make it 18-point fonts. It'll be a little easier to read and easier for the video too. So let's save that. And go ahead and open it up. And when you get the security risk, you know that the first time you just say OK and you're fine. All right, and we are in. So Raspberry. And let's run the configuration. And here it is right here. So I'll just highlight it and then right click and it pastes it in for you. And let's expand the file system. That's a good thing to do. And change the user password. It's always a good idea to change the password. This will only be, you only need this password really when you log in locally. This is going to be run headless, so you'll probably never need this unless you're troubleshooting something that's gone really bad. But still, I want to put a new password in. All right, and let's see. Overclock, sure. It's a Pi 2, so we'll give it some Pi 2 overclock. And the advanced options, let's see, memory split. This is not going to run any type of GUI, so let's give all the memory to the Pi. I don't need any for video, so take it down to 16. Okay, and I think that's about it. I'm going to finish this up, but I do not want to reboot it right now. I want to static it, and the way to do that, I've got a little cheat sheet here, is we edit the sudo nano etc. network interfaces. I'll copy that and we'll paste it in there. Good. And then I'll just take out this line here with the DHCP in. I guess I could change the end, but it's no big deal. And then, oops, back to my little cheat sheet. And this is the command. And here's, you see 30 in here, is what I'm changing it to. You would need to, you would not want to use this for yours unless you're on the same 192.168.1 network and you can use 30. Other than that, you'll need to figure out what IP addresses works for you on your network. There are other videos that will help you do that. This is not one of them to teach you IP addressing. Anyway, okay, so there it is. It's static, and we'll exit, say modified yes. Done, and then at this point I will reboot it. All right. While the Pi is rebooting, let's generate the SSH keys, and you use chinpiro to do that. And with chinpiro, you're going to create both a public and a private key. And the basic idea is you would put the public key on the Raspberry Pi and keep the private key on your PC, or you could use, on an Android device even. And anything that has that private key can, in theory, log into your Pi. So you might want to just keep that safe. And the default is 2048 bit size, and I'm going to bump that up to 4096. I've ran it both ways, and I could not tell a difference between 2048 and 4096. So this is extra security. I hear it's harder to break into it. What the heck, let's do it. And then click on the generate button, and then just kind of move the mouse in the area over here, blah, blah. It just wants to generate some randomness. And once you are done with that, it'll create the key. It's going to ask us for a passphrase, and we don't need to do that unless you want it. It's an added layer of security. Once we're done creating this, it's going to create a PPK file. And in order to get into that file, you would need that passphrase if you put it in. And every time you logged into the Pi, you need to put that passphrase in. Now, I think that's a bit overkill security-wise for what I'm doing. If you think you need it, by all means, throw it in. I'm not going to use it. You'd only need to save the public key if you were, for example, giving it to a friend of yours that you want to log into his Pi or his Linux machine remotely. If you're just going to do it locally in your house like I'm doing it, you just need to save the private key. And that will also have the public key in it. So I'm going to save the private key without a passphrase. And I'm going to call it Pi keys. Yes, there we go. So that is saved. And close that out. Now let's go ahead and put the keys into the Pi. So we're going to launch putty again. And we'll load that up. And we know we changed the IP to 30. So there's 30. And let's save that. And then let's open the connection. Yes, that's our Pi. All right. And my new password. And we are in. Cool. And the way to put the keys into the Pi is you make a directory called .ssh. And then we're going to create a file, and I use nano as my editor. You can use VI or whatever you want. So nano and authorized underscore keys, KEYS. All right, cool. We have that file open. Now let's go back to chinpiro and load up that newly created file. And here are the keys up here. This is the public key. So we want all of this. So in the very top left corner, click and drag the entire thing. Get every little bit of it. Right click, copy, and then back to the Pi. And we just right click and it'll paste it in. And at that point, exit it and don't do anything. Don't hit enter, don't type anything else, just exit out of the file, you're done. Save modified, yes. Okay. Now let's do a bit of housekeeping and chmod this thing. And we need to chmod 600 for the authorized keys and 700 for the directory. It's good safety, it's good practice. Okay, so 600 for the keys. So chmod 600 authorized keys, and we'll back it up and chmod 700.ssh. There we go. And we can test out the keys and make sure it all works. So loading up, now we can kill the generator, we don't need that anymore. Launching putty, we'll load up the Pi, and under SSH authorization, it's going to ask us for the key file for authentication, and we just want to point it to the Pi keys. And then we will save that, and then open it up. And as you can see, it authenticates us with the new key we just created and logs us right in because we put that username in there already. So at that point, you are completely logged in. You saw how quick it was too. All right, let's go one step further and lock the machine down to the point where you have to do this. So we're going to edit the SSH deconfig file. So copy, and in we go. And what we're looking for is the password section. Oops, here it is, password authentication. And it defaults to yes, so if you didn't have the keys, you could log in with your new password, but we want to completely eliminate that. So we take out the little pound sign there and say password authentication and change that to no. All right, and then exit that. Okay, now you need a password to log into the Pi, and let's test it. You know what, let's reboot it. It's a Pi 2, it reboots quick. Goodbye. And I want to launch PuTTY. And 192.168.1.30. We don't want to use our saved session because we're testing it out. And we should, after we type in our username, it should kick us right out because we can't log in without the password. So let's open this up. Oh, my bad. Wrong IP address. 192.168.1.30. Open. Okay, log in as Pi. And it immediately kicks us out because we need keys to get into it. So goodbye, kill that. Launch PuTTY again. Load up our Pi configuration, open it, and we are in. Done and done. All right, one last trick for you, and we are done here. I'm going to right-click, drag that, create a shortcut here. This shortcut I would put on the desktop, but I'm just doing it in a window right now, so put this on your desktop or wherever you want. And then properties on that. And target is PuTTY, and then space dash load, L-O-A-D, space Pi, the name of the configuration, and this will automate everything. All right, so let's launch this. And there you go. It automatically logs us in with our new keys, and there's no typing at all, and the Pi is very, very secure at this point. Well, I hope that helps somebody out. All right, thanks a lot for listening.